Hey, everybody. Linda Bean, Outreach Coordinator for the Kellyanne Dolan Memorial Fund. Thank you for joining us today for Shining a Light. We can't wait to spotlight a wonderful organization in the community. Came across a quote that has really stuck with me a few weeks ago when working or looking at someone that's living with a disability. And it goes as follows. If you embrace diversity, but fail to see disability, you got it all wrong. So I am so delighted today to welcome Josh Fields from the Next Step programs to this segment. Hey, Josh, how you
Hey,
doing?
good morning, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for joining us today. Really excited to spotlight the work that you're doing. So just tell us all about, Next Step mission, what it's all about.
Sure. So the Next Step programs, we were created in 2015 to really address the stigma surrounding people with disabilities as they transition out of high school. Our job is really to create opportunities for people with disabilities to find, meaningful opportunities to be independent and successful parts of their community. And it's all about working with those who are transitioning out of high school and, showing them that, anything is really possible and that they can really, obtain any job that they set their mind to with the right resources and, opportunities to learn new skills.
That's amazing. We know that transitional age is pretty tough. In most states, they're required to provide an education until age 21, but then kind of what's next in terms of adult life. And I wonder where you come down. I mean, I just feel same opportunity, same talents to give to the world. So why not? Right.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I always say. When you think about the transition process for any person, regardless of if they have a disability, there's so much that goes into that process of leaving high school. There's all these soft skills that we have to learn in order to obtain and maintain employment. And that's why this transition age for people with disabilities is so critical, because like you said, many of them do lose services and opportunities once they hit the age of 21.
Absolutely. So what inspired you at such a young age to found an organization that focuses on helping people?
I mean, there's a lot of different things that went into the mission behind TNS. One of the reasons that inspired me to start TNS was my friends with disabilities. Growing up, I had tons of friends who had Down syndrome and autism and all different types of disabilities, and I really got to learn about how to be a better person through my interactions with my friends with disabilities. And as I was getting ready to transition out of high school, I saw that there was this lack of opportunity for my friends. And, that inspired me to want to do something about that. But then on top of that, I also had some truly impactful mentors throughout my early years. And one of those mentors was Peggy Dolan from the Kellyanne Dolan Memorial Fund. I went to Tamanin Middle School, and we did a basketball shootout each year that raised money for the fund. And the first time I had a chance to hear Peggy talk, I was just truly, inspired by how she was able to take her tragedy and turn it into something powerful, something meaningful, and how, it wasn't just something that she did 1 year or 1 week. It's something that she had done for 40 years. And seeing that somebody could take something so meaningful to them and something that, truly impacted their life and turn it into this mission really empowered me to think about what I could do. How could I leave my mark on the world? And that's when I met my co-founder, and everything kind of happened after that. We made a board of directors, we recruited volunteers, and we started developing the programs that we have today.
Well, that is just so inspiring to hear that story. She's got a way of mentoring and shaping, young minds. And, Tamanin, truly a special community. If you make your way back there, there's actually a mural in the gym now.
No way.
Yeah, for KADMF, and they've surpassed raising $500,000. So truly in 20 years, so a special community.
That is so awesome. When I was there, we had just hit the $250,000 marker. So that means since I left, they've raised an additional $250,000. That's awesome.
See that? It's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I know you're guided. There it is. There is the
Wow, that's
mural.
awesome.
Actually worked on that real quick backstory. The kids came in the week after school ended. And it was so fun to get up there on a scaffold and help paint that mural, just a permanent fixture of the heartbeat of that school and how it cares for community and others, and especially our families. So
Wow, that's
great,
awesome.
great to have that. So tell me the next step. I know you're guided by kind of three tenets or pillars. Get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what you provide.
Yeah, so TNS does a couple different things. One of the things that we do is education. We believe that the reason that there's a lack of opportunities for people with disabilities during that transition process is that there's a lack of education preparing people with disabilities for life after high school, as well as a lack of education a lack of education for employers about how to employ people with disabilities, how to remove some of those barriers that may exist. So we provide different types of educational workshops. We present at conferences, at universities, at schools, really just raising awareness about the need for inclusion for people with disabilities in the workplace. We talk about the benefits of hiring individuals with disabilities, the higher retention rates, the creating a employment environment that reflects the community that you live in. So that's definitely one of the things that we focus on is education.
So important. Is there any, if you're helping with that employment piece? Well, we'll circle back to that. Let's talk about your advocacy role and some of the things that you're involved in.
Sure. So I started TNS with my co-founder when I was 16 and he was 23. We were really young. We had all these big plans, big ideas. But what we learned is that first we needed to, learn the community, learn the issues, and then be able to speak on behalf of the community about those issues. So we spent the first 5 or 6 years really of the organization studying everything we could about transition, as well as representing TNS in schools, representing TNS in the community at places of work, and teaching employers about the need for inclusion. We work with a lot of young volunteers, and a lot of our advocacy efforts are teaching our volunteers how to advocate for their friends with disabilities. And then on top of that, teaching our participants, how do they be advocates for themselves? How do they advocate for their needs, their wants, and their desires? Advocacy is something that's super important to TNS because oftentimes people with disabilities aren't given the place to have their voice heard. So helping to level that playing field and transferring some of those advocacy skills is super important to us.
I wonder if you have a role or a vision, in the future of, being able to secure the funding to provide some on-site job coaching. You mentioned how important those life skills are. And I wonder if employers would jump on board a little bit more if just as you said, it's that they're, not educated, don't have the tools sometimes how to support someone with a variety of different disabilities.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's a great point. There's so many. The cool thing about the world we live in today is that there are every day more and more supports out there for young adults with disabilities, as they're looking for employment or they're looking for higher education. TNS is actually developing a model called job trainers. Instead of job coaches, we want to train the organization with the employee with the disability on how to work together and then step away. We don't want to have to be a constant crutch or support to an employee because most of our employees don't need that. They really just need the organization to understand their barriers and for the employee to understand how to communicate their needs. So we've been working actually with Bakeability. It's a new bakery in Buckingham that's run by families and young adults with disabilities. So we've been actually working with them and providing some job training with both their employees as well as the moms who are running the bakery.
That's just an incredible way to look at it. And we should definitely chat. There's some businesses in Ambler that are small businesses that I think would be, interested and already employ persons living with a disability, but being able to have
That
that level
extra
of an
support.
awareness.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to connect with them.
Awesome, awesome way to look at it. And do you involve in your trainings? Do you involve the people that you're hoping to, serve? Are they involved in part of that?
Yeah, I mean, something that's really important to us is including our participants and our families in everything that we do. We really strive to make sure that we're not speaking on behalf of ourselves, but we're speaking on behalf of our community. So actually, one of my best friends growing up, Megan Kensel, who has Down syndrome, she just started working with TNS as our program consultant, and she'll be doing a lot of advocacy work with us this year, speaking at conferences, speaking at different engagements to really spread the word about TNS and the work that we do. And that's something that Meg and I have always joked that it's a dream come true for both of us. When I was in high school and starting TNS, Meg was right there with me saying, I want to work here one day. And over the years, she's been our biggest supporter. And that actually, became a reality this summer when we were able to hire her. And that's exactly the type of work that, I'd like to see her doing, and the work that she really thrives at doing is advocating and, speaking on behalf of the TNS community.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's amazing. One of our other partners, Integrate for Good,
Yeah.
Heather Michelson, she's now taken over Kindness Still Matters, and she lives with Down syndrome and is facilitating that show on Fridays, which is, just absolutely incredible.
I love that.
To say. Cost involved with these workshops and trainings? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so for our educational workshops and trainings, a lot of them we offer for free. So oftentimes we'll advertise on our social media that we're doing a webinar on Zoom. And my co-founder, he's also our director of programs, Ricky Price. He's really in charge of all of our educational trainings. He does a great job. He's actually getting his PhD right now in special education. Super knowledgeable guy, but he runs most of our educational workshops, which are usually free of charge. We do provide private trainings and private workshops that, come with a cost. But something that Ricky and I decided a long time ago is that financial should never be a barrier to education, especially the services that TNS offers. So TNS is always willing to work with any institution, any company, whether they can afford services or not, to really provide them that, that on-the-job training that most organizations
pretty incredible.
Thank you.
So we've covered education and we've covered advocacy. There's one more pillar I think we want to talk about.
Sure. So inspiration. This one is, super important because it's about the inspiration that comes out of our community. So, TNS also offers programs in the evenings, and they're group programmings where we bring together young adults with disabilities to learn new skills. And while they're learning new skills, they're building communities, they're making friends, and they're, it's really an opportunity for them to connect with their community on a bigger scale. And what we've seen is that when we enable people with disabilities to have these opportunities, and you give them the ability to do the things that all of their peers are doing, that they can go on to do some really inspiring things. We recently just had our 7th annual TNS banquet fundraiser in August. And one of our participants, Trey Kohler, he's also a DJ. And we hired him to run our event. And it was just truly super amazing because, this is a business that he's been trying to really get off the ground, and he's been having gigs, and it was really cool for us to, empower him to have yet another opportunity to succeed. And that's just the type of thing that we try to do with that inspiration pillar.
That's incredible. We know that social isolation is just a big factor, and to create opportunities where they come together and what you see happen in terms of confidence and self-esteem, as well as, like you said, building relationships and
Right.
opportunities for future gigs for him. That's amazing. I commend you, Josh. You're really on the forefront. As I opened, with that quote, There's a lot of emphasis now on equity and inclusion. And it's not just from the perspective of gender and race. We've really brought disability to the forefront, and you're a pioneer advocating for that.
Thank you. And you know what? You're absolutely right. It is something that's being brought to the forefront. And, that's where it should be. People with disabilities represent every race, every gender, every culture, every ethnicity, every socioeconomic class. It's so important for people to realize how intersectional disability is with all of us. To me, the biggest thing that people can get out of this conversation is that anyone can be an advocate. Anyone can be that voice that helps, reduce some of those barriers that are there for my friends with disabilities.
Yeah. I see we got up on the screen. You've got a fantastic resource guide that you've spent some time. Tell us a little bit about what that covers.
Yeah, so this resource guide is pretty cool. This was one of the first things that we developed as an organization as we were still figuring out what were we going to do. So this was a project that was run by my co-founder and our former executive director, Sarah Wasserstein. They put so much time into researching all the resources that are in the Pennsylvania area that support individuals with disabilities, from vocational and job supports to educational services to independent living to recreation activities. And then they went in and they split them up into the regions of Pennsylvania. So you've got southeastern PA, you've got northeastern PA. And it's really supposed to be a one-stop shop for families to come and just explore what types of resources are out there. And when you click on one of the dots on the map, it'll even show you, what the organization is, their name, a little bit about them, their website, their contact information, where they're located. So it's really just a place for families and individuals to come and, learn about what's out there so that they can take advantage of all the things out there to support them in their journey after high school.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. Every transitional program, public or private school, needs to know about this because it's got a wealth of information that would help in that transitional planning. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. So to kind of close today, I would love to hear what can the community, if someone's listening today, how can we support next step programs? How can we get in touch with? Give us the skinny on that.
Sure. There's a bunch of different ways you can support TNS. First and foremost, follow us on social media and stay up to date with some of the work we're doing. We're on Facebook at the Next Step Programs and on Instagram at TNS Programs. We try to post updates all the time with the different programs that we're running and the different events that we're speaking at. So that's definitely one way to support us, is just to stay connected with us. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you have any ideas for ways that we can continue to support the community. And then, we're a small community organization. So I always tell folks that every little donation really helps, whether it's $1 or $5. And if if you can't support TNS or you have another charity to support, my message is that, support those local community organizations out there, whether it's TNS or not, because we're all in this together. We're all working towards, making the world a better place. And then lastly, we're growing quickly. So we're always looking for more volunteers. We're actually starting a new program in Montgomery County in Bala Cynwyd in October. It'll be an evening program where we're working with young adults with disabilities and social skills. So we're looking for volunteers there. So if there's anyone who's interested, it'll be a Wednesday evening program. And you can, contact me through, the website, or my email is just josh@tnsprograms.org.
That's awesome. Lots of ways to be involved. Well,
absolutely.
Can't thank you enough for spending some time with us. And I know a combination of things that went into inspiring you to found this organization, but so delighted you had the Peggy and the Tamanin Foundation to build upon. Keep up the incredible work that you're doing, and we so look forward to partnering with you down the road.
Thank you, Linda. I really look forward to working with you guys as well.
You bet. Have a good one, Josh.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hey, please catch us. We've got a wonderful event coming up on Thursday, October 7th. Really meant to be a celebration. 45 years and counting, 45 years of supporting families who care for children living with serious illness or disability. at the Cricket Cub in Philadelphia. Check out through our website. You can purchase tickets or sponsor a family. It should be a fun and memorable evening. Make it